Hello and welcome to the Browns Blitz. Today is Tuesday, March 24th, and today we are recording episode number 44. I'm your host, Rod Bloom, and with me today we have one of my friends from Twitter. Joining me is Mo Onions. Mo, how are things going for you?
That was really sweet, Rod. Pretty good, man. Pretty good. Yourself?
Well, I got to say, I'm in contact with a lot of people on Twitter, and there's, some people are always nice to me, and some people keep me in line, and I think you've kind of fallen in the category of keeping me in line, and I think we've developed a pretty good relationship and kind of know where we stand with each other and stuff, and I've been looking forward to talking to you.
Yeah, this will be fun.
Yeah, and we're gonna bring Jeff in. How are things going for you, Jeff?
All right, I'm about out of my mind with boredom, probably like most everybody else in the world right now.
Yeah, it's kind of a crazy world we're living in right now. So yeah, I think like you said, I think kind of everybody's there right now. So we're gonna try to let everybody kind of forget about that for a while, and hopefully entertain everybody for an hour or so. And we'll see how we can do with that. So we're going to kick it off by talking about what we're drinking with our Blitz beverages. And I'm going to let you guys go first if you want to talk about anything that you may have brought with you to the podcast tonight. Mo, yes, gets to go first. What are you drinking tonight?
I'm going with my staple. I'm doing the Bud Light in the tall aluminum bottle, the 16-ounce aluminum bottle. I find those very refreshing and delicious.
Okay.
And I chasing that with a little Crown Royal.
All right. You have enough of that to last you, through not only the show but through the next few weeks.
Oh no, it's gonna get ugly. It's gonna get ugly.
Well, the good thing around here, the good thing is that the liquor stores are staying open because they're considered essential.
Ours too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they are definitely essential, especially when you figure what everybody's going through being isolated like they are. So yeah, definitely a good thing.
Yeah.
So Jeff, what's your beverage of choice tonight?
Well, Rada, as I've told you in the past, I'm not much of a beer drinker in the wintertime. I tend to gravitate more toward wines, but we hit the wine kind of hard yesterday. So today I decided to revert back to beer. And my refrigerator next to your refrigerator, I mean, I feel like I could never measure up. I mean, it's an embarrassment, quite frankly. But I went in and found the snobbiest beer that I had, which is a Belgian lager called Stella. So I'm having a Stella tonight while we do the show.
Stella Artois.
Si, senor.
Yeah. All right. Excellent choice. Yeah.
Did you ever drink the Warsteiner? The German lager? Pretty similar.
Yes.
To a Stella?
Skunky beers.
Yeah.
It's not that skunky.
I really like Stella. Yeah, I mean Warsteiner's fine too. Yeah, I would pick a Stella probably of the two myself, but yeah, good choices, guys. And I put this up for as a poll on Twitter, and the winner, the beer that people wanted me to try, was a beer that I picked up a couple weeks ago because I had tried this Ellicottville Brewing Company and a couple other beers, and this one is a blueberry maple pancake. It's a 7% beer, and this is out of New York. And I've been working on this for a little while. It's kind of interesting. I really some of these beers that have multiple flavors in them, guys. I don't know about you. The first few tastes, I normally just taste beer, and then as I kind of work my way through it, I'll taste one taste, and then a little further on, I might get the other one. This tasted like beer at first, and then I'm really tasting the maple in it. But to me, if you guys have had beers with bourbon in them before, you know how a bourbon gives a beer kind of thickness. I kind of get that thickness from the maple without the aftertaste of the bourbon. So that's kind of what it's done to this beer. I'm sure I'll probably get a little hint of blueberry in it, but it's a pretty good beer. But compared to just sitting down and eating some eating some pancakes with blueberries and maple syrup on them, I'd probably take the pancakes if I really wanted to get that flavor, and probably just have just a plain beer. So, but I think this brewer's a pretty good brewer. It's just for me, it's kind of tough to put more than one or two tastes in a beer and actually have them all come through. I think after a while, it just ends up kind of like you're throwing it all into a blender, and you're not going to be able to taste all those flavors. That's my experience with beers like this. So, so anyways, that's our Blitz beverages, guys, and that was fun. We're gonna move on.
I think I'll just stick to the pancakes myself.
Yeah. I mean, I think Ellicottville is a good brewer. They just, this is kind of an attempt at a complex taste, and it's not always going to be easy to pull off. So some people might get more out of it than what I am right now, but it's a good beer. But if I was blindfolded, I don't think I would get blueberry maple pancake out of it. I wouldn't even come close. So Mo, we're going to go back to you, and we like to hear kind of our guest's story as a Browns fan. And correct me if I'm wrong, but you've been in Cleveland pretty much your whole life. Is that right?
Yeah, well, besides going to school out there in Cincinnati, and I lived in Chicago for about 5 years, but then I came back to Cleveland.
Yeah, so kind of just lead us through just, whatever you want to share, kind of maybe some of your first memories or a first game, or kind of, first players you liked, whatever you like as far as kind of what got you into the Browns, and kind of some of the ups and downs for you, and kind of where you think the team is right now.
Wow.
Long or short story, it's totally up to you. No pressure.
No, being born in Cleveland, you just kind of, there's like no other team to root for when you're growing up, is the way I saw it. I think I remember liking them back when I was like 5 years old. Trying to think it. I was like excited when they drafted Mike Phipps. I was probably like 5 years old then. Remember Greg Pruitt. I don't know. There's just something about, they were the home team. I loved watching them play at Cleveland Stadium. I loved everything about them. Same with the Indians too.
Yeah. So, do you remember when do you remember either watching your first game or going to your first game?
Probably not the entire game. I remember watching those old, besides the Browns-Steelers games, the Browns and the Oilers. Those were always fun games to watch back then. And they had Earl Campbell.
Yeah.
Earl Campbell versus Mike Johnson. Those two used to mash it up in the middle.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Loved the AFC Central back then. Bengals were terrible. Back when the Patriots were terrible. Remember you guys are old enough to remember when the Patriots sucked.
Well, as far as we're concerned, they still do.
Yeah, but now they win some games now. Remember when
Yeah.
Steve Grogan used to wear that collar thing around his neck? Packers were terrible. Seemed like Lynn Dickey was breaking his leg every year or something.
Yeah.
Different time for sure. So, I mean, you're going back to the 70s and that, you've been watching this team for a while. How frustrating has it been for you over the past 20 seasons?
To be honest with you, it doesn't bother me. I'm just glad we have a team again. I don't care if they suck or not. I'd like to see them do better, of course. Just hasn't seemed like we found the right formula.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's a different perspective.
Yeah, I can't see myself getting upset anymore, having bad Mondays if the Browns lose. Like I said, I just really like football, and I'm just glad they're back. I'll take whatever they give me.
I have to ask, because Rod and I have talked about this before. Was that your Monday prior to the team moving? Did you live and die with the team before they left?
For sure. Yeah, I remember me and my buddies would watch the games. They would get bloody noses during the games just from watching it, and getting all excited and hyper and stuff like that. Yeah, we used to freak about it. In fact, I remember when Belichick benched Kosar for Todd Philcox. Do you guys remember that? The uproar?
Yeah.
I was actually interviewed that night on TV. I burnt my season tickets at the bar. That one guy on Channel 5. One guy on Channel 5 interviewed me. The Greek guy, I can't think of his name. And Sindelar called me. What do you call me? Pumpkinhead? He said something very derogatory. I appreciated it. I think there's like a little Sports Illustrated too about it. But yeah, nice. we used to get fired up.
So the Browns leave and come back, and you just decided to look at things differently, or just kind of saw that things needed to be different for you?
Well, like I said, I was just happy they were back. I was happy to have a pro football team again. The years that they were gone, that was just terrible. It was absolutely brutal on Sundays.
Yeah. Well, I think we can all agree there. Yeah, it was bad not having a football team. I don't know what you did, Mo. You didn't even follow the NFL much, did you, Josh?
No, I quit watching football for probably close to 10 years.
Yeah.
I mean, I kept up with the team, through the newspaper and stuff. But, I didn't even start watching the Browns for quite a while.
What year did they leave again? Like 97 or something?
95.
95?
Yeah, after the 95 season.
I'm trying to think where. I think I was.
Came back in 99.
I think I was still in Chicago then.
Okay.
Yeah, I was. I think that's when I just moved to Chicago, or a year after, because I came back. I came back to Cleveland like in '99.
So did you pull for the Bears during that period of time, or another team, or what did you do?
No, I could never root for another team. Went to Soldier Field a couple times. That was cool, but I could never root for another team.
Just kind of waited for the Browns to come back.
Yeah. Hoping. Yeah.
So what are your thoughts just in general right now of this new we'll just call it the newest regime? What are your thoughts of Stefanski and Andrew Berry? Not so much of the moves, but what do you think of this team that's been put together, of the management team, we'll say?
Well, I was hesitant at first, just because every time we get a new management team, they're terrible. I mean, I liked him. I liked him a lot. I read up on Stefanski. I read up on his offense. I like Barry because he's a, I dig the analytics aspect of what they do, even though I wasn't crazy about letting Schobert and Kirksey walk. But
yeah,
I'm kind of feeling good with what they've done so far.
Yeah, I mean, we talked a little bit on the last show about the moves that had been made at that point, and at that point, the Browns had signed Austin Hooper and Jack Conklin, Case Keenum. So that was the extent of the moves then, and they've signed a bunch more guys. Not the big ticket guys.
Bodies.
Not the big names, but it seems like they've really kind of at least brought in guys at positions of need. I think that first wave was kind of helping the biggest needs on offense, and now they've kind of brought in a lot of guys on defense. So and they brought all these guys in on 1-year contracts, I think, all these other guys. So
seems like most of them.
So,
I did a quick scan of what they did. It seems like mostly just bodies, rotation players. Carl Joseph, he could be somebody fun to watch. Maybe he's kind of like you kind of have a knack for signing those guys that like kind of floundered elsewhere and then come and have a good year. Like remember when they signed Jamar Taylor and everybody kind of wrote him off as a first round draft pick. Carl Joseph could possibly be that type of guy. He's always been hurt though. I think last year was the first year he played the entire season.
Yeah, he's been hurt a lot, but yeah, you sign a guy like that to a 1-year deal, and the hope is he's going to come in and really excel and try to, parlay that into a big deal. So hopefully they get a good year out of him.
Hopefully. Yeah, but I don't know. Not impressed with Goodson too much. Our linebackers are pretty sad at the moment, and that's not a good thing.
Yeah, I talked a little bit to Peter Jones about B.J. Goodson, and he actually likes him. He thinks that he kind of wishes the Packers would have kept him over the guy that they did keep, and his name escapes me right now. But he likes B.J. Goodson. The guy's a sure tackler, and he doesn't show well against the pass, but he really doesn't play. He really hasn't played much at all against the pass. So I don't know if he'll get a chance to play much against the pass here, or if he's going to be kind of a 2-down, guy who's going to be trying to vying for, to play in the middle as a 2-down back, or what's going to happen. But if Peter Jones says he likes him, then that's definitely a good sign for me.
That's so hard to do nowadays. Just two down linebackers like that. It's not like they can do the rotations like they used to. Do those sub packages because teams throw too much. I mean, they're throwing 65% of the game. So that's what are you going to do? Play him 1/3 of the game? I mean, he's gonna be forced to cover somebody at some point, and he's not. I don't think he's going to be able to do what Schobert did. I mean, they had Schobert doing some crazy coverages last year in that mixed quarters. I mean, one game he's doing that match quarters and has to cover Edelman when he comes across the middle, or sometimes in that Tampa 2, he had to chase tight end down the field. I don't think Goodson's going to be able to do that, but we'll see. I hope he does. Hopefully we pick up somebody else.
Yeah, I don't think Goodson's the guy to do that coverage part, that piece. Definitely not. I think that's probably more a Mac Wilson role, to try to fill that kind of role, as far as what Schobert did. I think Goodson's the guy who's going to be more in there to help stuff the run and be more up toward the line, and he'll cover a guy if he absolutely has to. But I think that's kind of what they're looking at there, and he's not. I don't think he's guaranteed to even be a starter. Definitely, I think he'll play, but let's see. Let's see how things work out.
We're gonna have to find some starters somewhere.
Yeah, yeah. So Jeff, what's your thoughts on any other guys that they've signed recently? Kind of who sticks out to you?
My thought process right now is that if Joe Woods can somehow figure out how to put together a top 15 defense with the roster he has right now, I don't know if an assistant can be coach of the year, but he'd get my vote. I think the team's done a nice job. Barry's done a nice job of putting together an offense. There are a ton of question marks on defense right now. And I put something on Twitter that, I think they go offensive tackle with their first round pick, and I think they go defense with the rest of the draft. So what you basically end up with is your 4 D-line starters and really a bunch of question marks other than your 2 starting corners. Goodson, I think he's something that the Browns haven't had in a while, which is a run-stuffing linebacker. I kind of agree with Mo that I don't know how relevant that is in today's NFL. I think the guy that I'm kind of anxious to see play is JoJo Natson. We haven't really had a return specialist in a while. A guy that can just light it up. I think he could be fun. The other guys just seem like they're pieces parts, that you need to have to fill out your roster. The good thing I think is that they're all on short deals, 1 year, prove it kind of things. And, you can always look to the future in terms of backfilling holes on defense.
Well, let's talk about these safeties that they signed though too. So you've got Carl Joseph, and then they signed Andrew Sandejo also, and
Anthony Sandejo, right?
I think it's Andrew.
It's Andrew, yeah.
Okay, I'm looking at the wrong thing.
Yeah, my first, I was just thinking that from what I'm understanding, these guys are almost interchangeable as far as who can play strong, who can play free. I thought that Sandejo's more, better in coverage, and that, but I guess they can both play kind of either role. So I think that's going to give, the Browns a lot of flexibility there. So, and I know these guys probably aren't going to be around for a long time, but I think being on 1 year deals, I think they could end up filling their roles pretty nicely. So, and allowing the Browns to hopefully, I still think the Browns are going to try to draft a safety. Wouldn't you guys think? You got 2 guys on a 1 year deal. You got Redwine, who's really nowhere close to being ready to start, I don't think, or shouldn't be at this point.
I tweeted that today, or maybe it was yesterday. I cannot remember the last time we had a stud safety. I look, there's nobody top 10 worthy this year as far as a safety. If we trade down to like 15 or 16, there's that one, I can't think of that kid's name offhand. But there really are no stud safety in this draft. I would kill to have a stud safety.
Yeah, I think you're still looking at second or third round. I think what's his name? Winfield's the guy everybody talks about. Everybody has the Browns taking him in round 2 or 3. Everybody's mocking him to the Browns, which means there's no way it's going to happen. So, everybody's mocking him to the Browns in either the second or third round. So that means everybody's mocking him to every team probably. Yeah, I do. It does seem that Sandejo and Joseph are both big hitters. I think that'll be, aside from penalties. Hopefully that'll be fun to watch on defense. And hopefully if those guys can stay healthy, then I think that'll help the Browns through the season. And same with Kevin Johnson, the corner that they signed. He's been hurt an awful lot, but it sounds like he could start in the slot. And I think the Browns could end up being pretty darn strong at corner this year, guys. Of course, it seems like the Browns look strong at corner every season, and sometimes they actually have been strong, but man, guys get hurt so fast in the NFL. It's crazy.
Yeah, you can never have too many of them.
Oh, they've got him and this. I'm not even sure how to pronounce his last name. Donovan Olumba. Who I think was last in Dallas. I think he's a guy they're going to try to groom for the future. So I don't think the terms of his deal were even disclosed.
Yeah, that'd be quite a reach. He was like in the practice squad all year, wasn't he? I don't think he even played.
Yeah, I think they're gonna. I think that's a guy they're gonna try to develop because he's 6'2", 200. I think they want to get to try to develop a big corner. So I don't think I wouldn't see him playing much this season. But I mean, if you look at Kevin Johnson and our starters and Terrence Mitchell, hopefully the Browns have a decent core of corners there. And if the safeties can stay healthy and play decently, at least the secondary looks a little bit better than it did a week ago. To me, I think. Go ahead.
I have a question for you guys. The way that the defense looks on paper right now, what do you think is the over-under for points allowed this year?
35.
Oh, per game? Yeah. Well, you mean right now before the draft?
Yeah, per game.
Yeah, I think they're going to do more at linebacker. And probably more on the line. I think they're going to try to get, do something else at linebacker and maybe something else at edge. But yeah,
the tough thing about it is I have no idea what Joe Woods is going to run back there. Because I'm kind of a freak when it comes to what I like to do in my hobby is like to study schemes. So I tried to research and figure out what tree he was from and stuff like that. So basically, he's a Wade Phillips guy, and then the last couple of years, when he's with San Francisco, he started to do their defense, which is similar but not the same. And I don't know if you guys paid close attention in the Super Bowl, but the 49ers did a ton of zone, and that's going to drive people up here crazy.
Yeah,
but expect to see a lot of heavy zone, especially if that's their defensive backfield and their linebackers. There's nothing else you can do with those guys.
Well, I don't know. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, though. We played a lot of zone last season, and that was the knock was that our corners were better in man-to-man, correct?
Yeah, I think they're good in zone too, though.
I think we played zone early when Ward and Williams were hurt.
Okay.
Then we played more press coverage later in the year
when they were back. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, that's what those two guys excel at is press coverage, man to man.
Right. So
and you could argue when we were better and when we were worse, but that's supposedly their strength.
Yeah.
Well, but by the time those guys came back, we didn't have any safeties left and everything else. I mean. So,
right.
It's real hard to compare.
Well, I tend to agree with Mo that we're going to give up a lot of points. Just based on what we see right now, I don't think you can expect to have an impact player fall to you in the draft. And barring a trade or somebody being released in camp that we can pick up that's going to be a difference maker. You're looking at short-term guys filling holes and probably a lot of young guys back there who are going to take their lumps. So this is probably going to be a season where we have a lot of 40 to 35 games And it's a damn good thing we've invested heavily on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you have to figure in the draft they're still going to go left tackle at number 10, unless something unusual happens. So yeah, you're looking at second round and later for draft. So you're not looking at more than one guy who's potentially going to make an impact on the defense in his first season. A great impact.
Right.
It's hard to expect an impact out of a third round guy much in his rookie season. So we'll see. But I mean, you're still looking at the same defensive line that we had last season that we were pretty excited about. So we'll have to see what happens. You can't just write those guys off. They're still.
What's going on with Vernon? They still haven't done anything with Vernon yet. Even though he was I personally felt he was pretty non-existent most of the year, but.
Well, he definitely wasn't dominant. I'll agree with that. I've made the statement several times already that if we're trying to win right away, we're keeping Vernon. Based on how the defense is structured right now, you're really putting a lot of weight on the performance of the defensive line to keep you in games. I almost think you have to have somebody to complement Garrett. And unless something happens in the trade market or somebody gets cut, I think we're going to have Vernon this year. Doesn't necessarily mean we're going to win with him or that he's going to have a huge impact. But I don't see somebody else being out there that can deliver more. And we're not really that worried about the money. I think we're still in the top couple in the league in cap space right now. So, that $15 million, I don't think it really matters a heck of a lot unless you need that for something else. If, a Trent Williams deal were to happen, then that kind of throws everything, off kilter if he suddenly gets his head out of his ass and, they can put something together there. But,
yeah,
other than Vernon, you've got pretty much what you've got on defense, and I don't see a lot changing.
Yeah. I just, it's going to depend on the scheme and the coaches and health of the players. I think this defense right now has a chance to keep them in games. I'm not going to say it can be a top 15 defense. We'll have to see. But I mean, you've got some guys who can play corner. You've got two safeties who can be decent. The main question marks at linebacker, and you've got the makings of a very solid defensive line. So we'll have to see if they help themselves at linebacker any between now and the draft, and how they kind of fill that gap or what they decide to do there. But other than linebacker, I mean, I think you got to feel at least like this defense can hopefully keep you in games.
Well, if the offense is scoring and they're actually moving the ball and moving the chains, that's going to help the defense a ton. I think that's been our biggest downfall the last several years. I think the defense has been they've taken too much heat that really wasn't deserved because the offense was so terrible. I mean, if your offense is going 3 and out and giving the other team the ball on the 40-yard line every time, it's impossible to play the game that way.
Yeah,
and it just
I agree.
They're on the field for 60, 65 snaps a game. They wear down, especially towards the end of the year when you get thinner and thinner. The defense took too much of a rap last year. Beginning of the year, I thought they were lights out, to be quite honest with you. Mm-hmm. And then after Garrett went down, it just got worse and worse because there's nothing you can do. Unfortunately, I played on teams like that where you're on the field for way too long, and it's very hard to do.
Yeah, I agree. I think the best defense is a strong offense that controls the ball And I think that's how they're building this team, and that's in keeping with Stefanski's philosophy. So I'm not really too worried about the offense right now. I think they're going to get their left tackle. I think there's plenty of weapons. I think there's going to be plenty of opportunity to put points on the board. And I agree, if that's what happens, and you are able to control the time of possession, it does take a hell of a lot of pressure off your defense, and you can get by with some of these role players, at least for this season.
That's Bill Belichick 101 right there.
Yeah.
How about having a real fullback on the team, guys?
2 of them.
2, yeah. I'm not sure what they're going to do with 2 fullbacks, but
football season, buddy.
Yeah.
Fullback season.
Yeah, you think they're going to carry 2 fullbacks? That'd be crazy.
Why not? Why not?
Because they've carried 1. Has any team in the last 20 years carried 2 fullbacks?
I kind of want to say the Vikings did last year.
Well, I think they had 1 on the practice squad. Yeah, I think.
I mean, after your first, what is it? Let's say 37 guys. Like the last 16 on the roster are just pretty much special teamers.
Well, that's true.
That fill in other positions, so why not?
I'm going to go out on the limb and make a prediction right now that Johnny Stanton's going to land on the practice squad, and this town is absolutely going to fall in love with Andy Janovich.
He sounds like a stud.
He's just the kind of guy that blue-collar town like Cleveland can relate to.
Yeah, I think he could end up being a steal. I mean, for a 2021 7th rounder. I know he's a fullback, and you usually get these guys as an undrafted, free agent, and after the draft, and nobody ever gives up anything for him. But to get him for a 7th round pick, just from what everybody's saying, what I've seen, I mean, there's really not even any film out there on him unless you go back to college and stuff. But I think it's going to be great. I can't wait to see him lined up there, blocking for Chubb and hopefully Kareem Hunt. It's going to be just a lot of fun.
Should solve our red zone problems also.
Yeah, maybe things might be a little bit different. I mean, like last season, it's like, I mean, I don't even know if I want to get into it, guys, but the whole thing of the fans, no matter what the coach does, they're screaming for the other thing. You got to pass. Right. You got to pass. No, you got to run. You got to run. You're at the 1. You got to pass. No, they know you're going to pass. You got to run.
So what was that game? They threw it like 4 times in a row.
Yeah.
It was like, 1st and goal, and they threw it 4 times. The fans went nuts. Like the 2 weeks
so
before that,
they ran it like 7 times in a row, and the fans went nuts.
Yeah, they're like, throw the 50 ball to Landry. Throw it.
Hopefully, I think this offense is going to be a little bit different. I think, I think it's just going to be run a little bit differently. I think it's going to be more efficient. Hopefully Baker will be more efficient, and he's hopefully a lot more fun to watch, guys.
Yeah. Well, if we can get there after a few games, that'd be great.
This offense will be a lot better for Baker, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think so. And looking at JoJo Natson, Jeff, he's, I think, 5'7", 157. Might be
Ice Cube.
Might be the smallest guy since Ice Cube McNeil.
Yeah, might be.
Well, that's going to be a lot of fun to watch him. Watch him too. So, all right, Jeff, you have something for us. You have a list for us?
Yeah. Well, as you mentioned, I did get back on Twitter here recently. And one of the things that I saw today kind of getting passed around was Joe Buck doing play-by-play from various videos that people had submitted of kind of their day-to-day activity. And I think one was of a marble race. One was a dog catching a football and bringing it back. It just made me think a little bit about, Joe Buck and what are some of the things that, I really wouldn't want to see Joe Buck doing play-by-play to. So I came up with a top 10 list, a la David Letterman, of the things that I would not want to see Joe Buck doing play-by-play to.
Is a Cleveland game in there at all?
Well,
anyway,
we'll get to that. Yeah, we'll get to that.
I'll let you go.
All right, so the number 10 thing that I would not want to see Joe Buck doing play-by-play to, this is for you, Mo, Baker Mayfield doing push-ups.
What were those?
Or whatever he calls them. Number 9. The number 9 thing I would not want to see Joe Buck doing play-by-play to is a toilet overflowing for obvious reasons. Number 8, a NASCAR race, just because I don't think Joe Buck has boogity boogity in his vocabulary. Number 7, a prostate exam. Although, sometimes it's hard to tell between Joe Buck and a prostate exam. Number 6, synchronized swimming. I'll just leave that one there. Number 5, a doubleheader. A doubleheader, because one game of Joe Buck, for God's sake, is enough.
Amen.
Number 4, Stevie Wonder building a gas grill. Now, that would be exciting television. Number 3, the back 9 on Sunday, and that's a nod to the 2015 U.S. Open for anybody who out there is not a golfer, where he basically said who was going to win the tournament at the turn. Number 2, a Browns Super Bowl, because God knows after 60 years of suffering, we deserve better than Joe freaking Buck. And number one thing that I would not want to hear Joe Buck doing play-by-play to is Kyle Schwarber doing just about anything.
Man crush, yeah. That's for sure. Wow.
Hope you guys enjoyed that.
That was fun.
I did.
If you enjoyed that, you can find much more at Disposer Guru, which is Jeff's Twitter handle, which Jeff, as he said, is back on Twitter for the first time in how many years, Jeff?
Well, I have to explain. I mean, I signed up for Twitter before Twitter was a thing, because probably about 10 years ago, I was kind of a company spokesman. So I did a lot of television and radio stuff. And I signed up for Twitter to kind of help promote my appearances. And I think, counting your daughter, Jacqueline Rod, I think I had about 4 followers.
Yeah.
So I thought you got off Twitter.
9 or something. Yeah, you were up to 9.
Yeah, I might have got up to 9. Yeah, that might, I don't know, in my heyday. So anyway, I got off Twitter. I got on Facebook for a little while, got into a lot of arguments. And I said, I'm done with social media. So I got off social media probably about 3 or 4 years ago, cold turkey, and just didn't go back. The only reason I went back to Twitter and reactivated that old account, and Disposer Guru is just what one of the radio hosts. So I reactivated that old account. It's been a few weeks now, and thanks to my famous brother, I have a bunch of followers. But I won't ever.
Well, I got to correct you on the famous thing, Jeff. I am known on Twitter. I am nowhere near famous, but I appreciate the family sentiment, anyways. But yeah. anyhow, we do need to talk about something. If you didn't know, and there's no pressure whatsoever in this, but you can actually, if you want to, you can go in and change that name from Disposer Guru to something else. Now, I have to set and still keep your same account. I have to say that for everybody out there, Disposer Guru is a very accurate handle for Jeff. So, he has earned that. So he may not want to change it, but if he ever decided he wanted to go to a sports handle and use it for Twitter, you can do that and keep your same account, and we can teach you how to do that.
Do you have a top 10 list of potential names changed to on Twitter?
I could help with that.
We can.
Just need to put that together.
We can. I can put it out and get 100 suggestions for you by midnight.
See, you are famous.
No, I'm not famous. I happen to have some followers who like to interact with me. Big difference.
There you go.
So, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Anyway, so we appreciate the top 10 list, Jeff. Nice work on that. And Mo Onions, you can follow him at his very accurate Twitter handle of @Don'tFlagMeBra.
I haven't been suspended in quite a long time. I'm not sure why.
You haven't been? No.
No.
I haven't tried hard enough.
I try every day. Trust me.
Yeah, I haven't been in trouble either, so I haven't done anything wrong. No purgatory for me either for a while. So we'll hope that continues, guys. And for anybody not on Twitter who's listening, you can catch me at ClearRodB. And I think, guys, I think we've covered it. Mo, we like to give everybody a chance to kind of give some parting words of wisdom. What would you like to leave everybody with?
Geez.
It could be anything.
I don't have any wisdom whatsoever to share, to be honest with you. Leave me alone. I don't know.
Okay, you guys heard it here. Well, we appreciate you coming on. It's been good talking to you.
It was fun, man. I appreciate the offer.
Yeah. Jeff, you have anything to leave everybody with?
I just want to thank Mo. I mean, this was a good time. Look forward to doing it next time.
All right. All right, guys, we're gonna close shop then. This has been the Browns Blitz. We thank everybody for listening, and we will catch you next time.